Hey, Popo, I just got up here. You might have forgot something to eat.
First, you must undergo Popo's training.
Oh, good. I love training, Popo. Awesome.
Good! Then let us establish the pecking order.
The what? Yo, welcome back to the channel. Now, if it's your first time here, if you're new, well, welcome to the channel in general. Now, here's the thing. My Chaozu video did pretty well, and I'm actually really happy with that. If you didn't check that out, feel free. I know I'm a little advertising up off rip, probably not a good idea. Regardless, I just figured I'd try my luck with Mr.popo, because there's just a lot about Mr.popo that people do not understand. A lot of people have a very wrong idea about him, and, well, they have for years, especially for kids. Ugh. Anyway, now, the question that I have for you is, all right, so what is Mr.popo? A lot of people ask this and they wonder, what the heck? Like, what? Like, a lot of people say genie, and that's not necessarily entirely wrong. Obviously, we got the magic carpet and everything. Regardless, let's just get this out of the way first. Before I go any further, I just want to go in depth on how Mr.popo is a deity, and it just, you know, it is what it is. Essentially, he's an attendant for Kami. You know what I mean? He's gardening, he's taking care of the place, you know, he's making sure the lookout looks on fleek. His look was actually inspired by mahakala. All right, and I'm writing this script before I did any research. I've done the research now, so I understand a lot more, and there's a lot of stuff that just like, holy crap, I did not realize that it meshed and the comparison would be so well. All right, so I'm just looking at the script right now, and it just says, I don't know if there's anything to really compare about, but it's kind of cool to think about it. Yeah, no, you're in for a treat, trust me. But first, let's get into... All right, so Mr.popo. Who is Mr.popo? So, as I said before, Popo is an attendant, a deity. He's the attendant for Kami. You know, to make sure everything looks good, which is fine. And he shouldn't really be seen as anything much else than that, but obviously the show gives you a little bit of mystique, a little mystery of what he is, you know. So I just kind of want to give you the history of Mr.popo just a little bit to help you better understand what he is, what inspired his creation. Especially when I start talking about mahakala, you might make your own comparisons before I get into the comparison section, because trust me, baby, there's a lot.
But before that, if you're enjoying the video,
hello,
please consider liking this video and leave a comment of your thoughts.
Ooh. Okay, so here's something that I also want to talk about. I just want to get this out of the way now. I feel like this is very important. So a lot of people talk about Mr.popo and they think, wow, how racist. Mr.popo is so racist. Ugh. So I'm going to get a little bit serious here for a bit. All right, guys. So just for this short little bit, before I truly get into the history, I just kind of want to talk about this because this seems super important. So for those who are unaware, I don't know how obvious it is, but I am a Mexican American. So, you know, I've dealt with some vile things. Some people have called me some names. Obviously, I don't really look like it, so it happens less than you'd think. The beard and all that stuff truly gives it away. But essentially, all I've tried to say is, yeah, obviously, I'm not the one who'd be who'd be oppressed in this instance. You know, obviously, I don't necessarily have anything to really hold on, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm defending. No, it's just very interesting to talk about this because it'd be really remiss just not to mention it at all. So people are, you know, throwing stones at Mr.popo, but I just don't think that's the right target, all right? Toriyama based Popo off mahakala, and, you know, I'm sure I've showed a couple pictures, and you could kind of just see the comparison. Yeah, they look pretty similar, you know, so I feel like it's clear that is the comparison. You'll know more once I get into the, I guess, the oddities and the actual comparisons of his personality and stuff. But regardless, I just want to say the real target should probably be Staff Officer Black from OG Dragon Ball. But, you know, he's a caricature, and it's pretty bad. But to my understanding, all right, I'm not trying to be like, I'm a defender. But at the time, to my understanding, Toriyama had zero idea that, it would have messed up. And if you kind of notice later, and any other depiction of a person of color since then have been designed appropriately. Even Staff Officer Black, actually, he got a redesign in the Path of Power film. So when they remade Dragon Ball for Path of Power, they switched how he looked. And yeah, I don't necessarily know if that was a Toriyama design. Maybe I could have done a little bit more research on that. But the thing is, they've realized, and since then, I feel like we haven't really got anything crazy like that. But it's just kind of like, because 4Kids turned him blue, turned Mr. Popo blue, which is absolutely wild to me. But I guess since Popo's inception, they also made his lips less prominent. I'm pretty sure that was only during the dubs, though. I'm pretty sure the dubs did it, but I don't know. For all I know is his lips are less thick now. So that's pretty cool, I guess, which is understandable. I guess, some people might feel a certain way. But I just want to get that out of the way. I just kind of figured it may get commented on, and it's just an interesting thing to talk about in itself. Maybe a little bit dicey, a little bit spicy, but I just want to be transparent with you guys because I want to make sure I hit every note that I possibly can during this video. Just kind of make sure you guys understand. All right. Anyway, you guys probably like, get into it already. Stop yapping. All right, let's get into the history of Mr. Popo. All right, so Mr. Popo was first introduced after, Goku defeats Demon King Piccolo. Yep, that's right. Not Piccolo Jr., not the Piccolo we know, but Demon King Piccolo. So he uses the Power Pole, Goku, that is, to get on top of Kami's lookout. And who does he see? Oh, Mr. Popo is sitting right there. And it's just like, Goku's just like, oh, is that Kami? And Popo's like, no, I'm not. And I'm Kami's attendant. And you have to defeat me in a fight to meet Kami. And, lucky for Goku, Kami walks out. But, before that, Popo actually absolutely folds Kid Goku. It's kind of crazy. In the anime, he actually eats Kamehameha. I did not see that in the manga. But, oh boy. But yeah, Mr. Popo is just like, oh, you're lucky this time. There he is. Which is really funny to think about. Because obviously, I guess he's just observing. He can't really intervene too hard with Kami's wants. Regardless, he just ends up training Goku for the next 3 years. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Popo, pretty badass. I'm just saying. But he's the reason why Goku knows how to sense ki without really looking it with his eyes. And essentially it's the reason why he can control ki so well. So without Popo, we wouldn't have gotten the Super Kamehameha. I just want that to be known. Yo, future editing Mickey here. Funnily enough, I'm here to talk about the pendulum room because I actually kind of realized what it was and kind of realized, oh snap, this is going to be super important later. So in Dragon Ball, it is in a filler episode. There's a lot of clocks everywhere. It's pretty interesting to see. Wow, time. Again, I'm just going to keep reminiscing. Hey guys, look for time. Time's very important in this whole section, in this whole video. Time is super important. All right, so you're like, what is this room? All right, so in original Dragon Ball, essentially, you could wish to go to the past, and it was part of Goku's training. But again, this was like a filler. In fact, I believe it was a filler for both sections. But it's interesting to me that the anime does filler this way, where it's like, it really just adds to the mystique and the time with Popo. Because, it really just makes my point of him being compared to Mahakala, like very, very much so. Just, wow. You'll see later. But essentially, in this filler, Goku goes back in time and sees a young Roshi and stuff like that. Now, this time travel doesn't alter any events. It's just visions. So, I don't know. It's just like a cool little fun thing. In Z, I'll probably talk about it a bit more as well. But pretty cool stuff. And yeah, that's it. I'm just going to go back to the video. But the next time we see him is during the Saiyan. Anyways, next time we see him is during the Saiyan saga. And, him, by him, I mean Popo, and Kami, they trained Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu. Yeah, it's been a while since original Dragon Ball, of course, but he trains with them. And, that's also where we... I told you I'd be back. Anyway, what's up? Future editing Mickey here, once again, talking about the pendulum room in Z. And this was during the time when, Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, Yamcha were training with Popo. Yajirobe was training with Popo too, but he wasn't in this room, apparently. But yeah, so essentially they go to planet Vegeta when they travel back in time in the pendulum room. And it's just, they fight these two Saiyans, very low class Saiyans. I guess their names are Shorty and Scarface. Fun facts, guys, fun facts. But yeah, essentially they get mollywopped. They can't die, but you know, again, it's the same thing. They go back in time, but it's like a vision. It's not like actually Planet Vegeta. It's not actually, they're not actually altering anything. It's just an interesting, harsh training method that Mr. Popo does that has to do with, well, time. So again, I'm gonna just keep saying time. You'll understand in the near future. Yeah, just continue watching the video. Hope you enjoy. Yeah. He trades them. And, you know, Vegeta and Nappa finally show up. And Popo's just worried that Piccolo is going to die because Kami would die as well if Piccolo dies. And, Alright, so next we have the Frieza saga. And with the aftermath of the Saiyan saga, well, not a lot of the Z fighters made it. A lot of them actually perished. And well, Dragon Balls. But no, the Dragon Balls are gone. Piccolo died. You saw the cut. You saw what I showed you. So yeah. But luckily for everybody else, Mr. Popo's a really good attendant. Because you may be wondering, how does this pertain to Popo? Well, as Kami's attendant, Mr. Popo knows how Kami got onto Earth, that Kami's a Namekian. And, well, wow, conveniently, wow, I can't speak English. Conveniently, Kami's spaceship is, like, still there, and it kind of works. What? That's crazy. The Namekians have their own Dragon Balls? Mr. Popo's just holding that back the whole time, just like,
Hey guys, it's okay. Just get my boy back.
But yeah, so Popo came in pretty clutch there. You know, let's be quite honest there. So obviously they go to Namek and they want to just wish everybody back, and they do. Obviously, those in between, you know, go Super Saiyan and all that stuff. I'm just about Popo. And Popo just stays happily on the lookout, as he always does. You know, doing this history section on this is a lot easier than on Chaozu, because Popo has way less to do. But he's very important, and I feel like a lot of people don't even think about him. He's pretty important, actually. He's really getting these arcs going, these sagas. He's making them go. Like, even in Majin Buu. I'll get into that later. Regardless, we're going to skip the filler arc. You know, Frieza just happened. We're skipping the filler arc. So the next time we see Popo is the Cell saga. I don't have any cool thing like Frieza. I don't think I could.
Hello.
Okay, maybe that's okay. Regardless, Popo is clearly distressed. Kind of sad. But he wishes Kami goodbye because Kami fuses with Bigelow. Bigelow needs to get stronger for these incoming androids, and, you know, obviously, the best way to do that is to fuse. Very crazy thing to kind of just bring up out of nowhere, but yes, Kami fuses with Piccolo, and it makes Piccolo stronger. And, you know, Popo definitely understands it's a much-needed sacrifice, and just kind of is like, okay, bye-bye. But this is also where we see the hyperbolic time chamber for the first time. It's introduced because, well, in the hyperbolic time chamber, you can train for 1 year after 1 day. So 1 day of time allows you 1 year of training. Pretty crazy stuff. Wow, time. Time. Keep that in mind. Time. Anyway. All I'm saying is, Vegeta and Trunks and Goku and Gohan go in separate times, but they train. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot more to the hyperbolic time chamber, but that's just kind of like the main gist. It's a Popo video. Maybe I'll do a video on the hyperbolic time chamber itself in the future. I don't know. It's a pretty cool concept. Anyway, so Mr. Popo just isn't seen for the rest of the saga, but the next time we see him is during the Majin Buu saga. So Goku knows the fusion technique, but he does not have much time before he gets sent back to the afterlife. That's right, he got wished back for, I don't remember, I think it was like a day, and that was a long-ass day if it actually was a day. Regardless, we're here to talk about Popo. I'll brush up on my Dragon Ball knowledge later. Oh man, Mickey, you have a Dragon Ball channel. Oh, am I cursing? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Get good. Okay. Regardless. Yeah. So he's just like, man, I really wish we could figure this out. Because, to use the Metamoran fusion technique, you need to be of similar size and power level to do this fusion. But Mr. Popo, here we are. Mr. Popo, very important for these sagas, comes in clutch once again and suggests Goten and Trunks end up being the ones to do this fusion. And everyone's just like, wow, that's a great idea. In fact, he even fights Super Saiyan Goten and Trunks and holds his own, which is pretty scary. Kind of means Mr. Popo is really strong. Makes you really think, I wonder why he hasn't really dealt with any of the other threats that have been about. He probably could have taken out Vegeta and stuff quite easily. Yeah, he's a lookout attendant, dude. He's enlightened. He's just there. Regardless, let's just get back into it. So he holds his own. He's very strong, and it's just like, But essentially, Dende ends up becoming the guardian of Earth right now during this time. So Piccolo can, well, for lack of a better word, die without the Dragon Balls. Actually, it's etheric. So it's kind of like, oh, that's good. And, it's a good thing. How convenient. Because Super Boo shows up and basically turns everyone into chocolate and eats them. But before that, Popo chucks Dende off of the lookout. So lucky him, the Dragon Balls are still in play, and Dende's alive. But Popo is now eaten. It's a very weird show now that I'm really just saying this out loud. Popo got turned into chocolate and Super Boo ate him. But yeah, next time we see Popo, he gets revived. I don't know if I said something wrong. If I did, I'll edit that out. Anyway, yeah, essentially Popo gets revived. He helps with the spirit bomb. Bada bang, bada boom. Kid Buu dies. Well, the question is, how much power did Mr. Popo actually give it to the spirit bomb? I mean, he's strong as hell. Anyway, honorable mentions. Let's do some honorable mentions. And that's just in Daima. We learn that Popo has horns under his turban. Whoa, that's insane. And in the TOP, this was a pretty funny moment. The Tournament of Power saga. So when Vegeta is about to go into the hyperbolic time chamber for the second time, Popo tells Vegeta he'll be banned from the time chamber if he destroys it again. Because on the last arc, which is, I believe it was Goku Black, Vegeta actually destroyed the hyperbolic time chamber. I don't know, I think it's kind of pretty silly, but Mr. Popo is super firm, and it really put fear into Vegeta, which is, what? I mean, to be fair, maybe he was scared that, he couldn't train anymore, but what if he was scared of Popo? Regardless, now let's talk about... Alright, so mahakala. They're a deity in Hinduism, as well as Tibetan, and there's many interpretations, including some in Japan. That being said, there's a lot of info, and it could definitely be argued and differ from person to person, so take with what I'm saying as a stepping stone and not fact. As this is a deity in religion, obviously there's many perceptions, many ways you could take, this sort of thing here. So I'll try to talk with respect when I talk about this. So I apologize if I offend anyone. I'll be quite honest. I might make a few jokes here and there, but that's just to be entertaining, and I hope that's understandable. I just feel like I have to say something here because, obviously this is a real life thing. It affects many people's lives, and, unlike my Chung Chu video on Chaozu, which is Chinese vampires, that's folklore, this is a bit more serious as it's religion. So, yeah, now that this disclaimer is gone, I feel like I can begin, and hopefully you understand. I'm just trying to be entertaining and educate just a little bit on what I think is very interesting, which is Toriyama using this as a basis for a character in an anime TV show. Is that so wrong? Anyway, let's get into this. So Mahakala is a deity who, well, protects the cosmic law and is a protector of sacred spaces, lessons, and the people just putting themselves up for enlightenment. Now, don't get me wrong, he does this by enforcing. He uses fear and discipline above all else. And, well, you can see with their look, I'll definitely put a picture up. They just, look very fierce, but has an uncanny resemblance to Mr.popo. Now, this is one reason I believe Toriyama uses them as inspiration. I'll go more in depth with the personality and such like that later, which, to be quite honest, maybe personality isn't the correct word, but I guess their demeanor is probably the better way to put that. But regardless, I just figured I'd just drop this in now because, I mean, look. Just a look. Anyway, back to Mahakala. So as I said, they use fear and discipline, but keep in mind, it's not malice or evil. It just is. Alright. His name translates to something like Great Black One or Beyond Time. Maha meaning great, mighty, large, grand. I'm just giving synonyms at this point, but it's stuff like that. And Kala meaning things like time, which is in a destiny and death type of way. Like the inevitability of time sort of thing. So, yeah, pretty neat, pretty cool. But essentially, to my understanding from what I've researched, Mahakala is time, all right? But also destroys time. And, well, as we all know, time makes, but time destroys. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but for now, let's just talk about his color, because it actually represents something. Totality, absorbing everything, timelessness. Black is just a void. It absorbs. And, Mahakala, they don't age. They exist out of our human time, and they represent eternity. They represent transcendence over everything. Good, evil, death, life. They're enlightened. Just like I've been saying. They're, again, in multiple religions, and there's a few differences between them, so me even talking is generally kind of interesting. But regardless, I'm doing my best here, so I hope you understand. Because Mahakala is a sacred and worshipped in many religions, many traditions. As I said, they evoke reverence, fear, and spiritual discipline. By that I mean, he helps one reach enlightenment, and by any means necessary. So, it is what it is. Unlike Mr.popo's widespread memedom, Mahakala is a serious thing. So, please understand that and respect it to your best ability. Just try to be good about it. So, I'll go a bit more in depth here about the differences of their interpretations, alright? Yeah, if you learned something watching this video, please leave a like and, well, subscribe if you want more, because I'm definitely going to be doing more videos like this where I'm comparing real life things with, at the moment, Dragon Ball, but I'm going to try to probably branch out in the future. So if you like learning with this interesting medium of, I guess, fiction, hey, stick around. More stuff coming. Appreciate you. Get back into the video. So here we go. As for Hinduism, they are considered to be a form of Lord Shiva and, well, destroys time, transcending it. Considered the embodiment of time. Kala means time, as I said before. And, like I said, time destroys things. Think about it. Over time, things rust. You grow older. It's very meta, actually. Just this concept itself is super meta. But in Hinduism, Mahakala is just that. The reality that time consumes itself, everything. Not just evil or punishment. It just is. Now, let's be clear here as well. I'm just scratching the surface here. And I apologize for anything that may be confusing, that may be wrong. It's just, there's so much technicality here. And I'm just doing my best with how I perceived it. Like this video if you haven't either. Okay, regardless. Let's get into the Tibetan Buddhism now. So this is where Mahakala is a Dharmapala, which is the protector of Dharma, an emission of enlightened beings, seen as compassionate, not a god really in a sense, but as an enlightened protector. He destroys ignorance, ego, basically anything that hinders your way to enlightenment. and protects monasteries, teachers, and any lessons that get you there. They may look scary, but again, it's all about the compassion. The compassionate about violence to anything that can, well, dilute a person's way to enlightenment. So, yeah. Now, I'll repeat this once again. He is black, as it represents something. Again, that's absorbing all. Like I said before, a void, timelessness. It actually means something. Like, not to get into Dragon Ball, as I want to compare it in the next section, but this comparison may help you guys, alright? So, Goku Black is SSJ Rose. Now, here's this comparison here. Pink, when he goes, in his form, his hair is pink. Now the thing is, pink means, well, elegance. And what did Goku Black represent? Elegance above, all else. So hopefully that kind of helps you understand what I mean by the color represents something. I know it's like, oh, I already knew that. Maybe somebody didn't get it, all right? If you got it, good for you. But maybe somebody didn't, so I'm just trying to help a little bit. Anyway, I might get into that in another video about Goku Black's hair and stuff. I like saying this in the videos, like, I'm gonna make this a video, so you guys kind of keep you on your toes a little bit. But anyways, so you may be wondering, why does Mahakala look angry? Why do they have skulls? Why do they have flames all around them? Well, it's just to show some force, to help destroy all those things in its path. Now, maybe you're wondering, wow, that sounds destructive. But essentially, it's to help overcome ignorance and push you along to the proper path to enlightenment. The weapons don't cut physical things. They cut, well, unless you consider, I guess, the idea of attachment to be physical, which, very much might be a thing in these beliefs here, so I apologize if I said anything out of tune. Regardless, it cuts down any delusion. It essentially makes your mental good. And he looks angry. He looks scary to shatter your ego. Anything you're complacent with, anything that you're worried about, your anxiety shattered, makes your mind clear. Everything around you is just no longer there. Nothing scary. The fear is a way to discipline you. It's a way to instruct those, it's a way to make you understand, hey, calm. I don't know, this stuff's very interesting to me, and I just think this is really awesome to talk about. As you can see, I'm very excited. I know, it's just, I'm talking very slowly, but this really hits like a bone I didn't think it would ever hit. Now, obviously, there's subtle differences between these interpretations, but all in all, what is the same is that time is inevitable. Mahakala destroys illusions that cloud one's mind. He enforces the law of cosmic and spirit. He wants you to get to enlightenment. And it's just a power. It's very deep, beyond morality. It's good, evil. What are those? There just is. The world's gray, man. Like, this is a Mr.popo Dragon Ball video. It shouldn't be this serious. But I just want you to know, I am just scratching the surface. But the gist of the things is here. Oh, man. Bro. He is a manifestation of destruction. He's protection. And oh, bro, he's a manifestation of destruction, protection, and time. He uses fear not to hurt, but to liberate one's mind. Look, I could go deeper and deeper, but like I said, I scratched the surface, all right? He has a 2-armed form, a 4-armed form, a 6-armed form, and he relates to a bunch of other deities as well. And look... I really didn't get into any of the super specifics. It's just, if I did, this video would be like 2 hours or longer. And I don't know if you want to sit here, just me, just like, oh, whoa, oh, whoa. Because that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to leave it there. But I just really hope that this does help you understand mahakala a little bit more. And it'll help you with this comparison with Mr.popo that I'm about to get into. We got a slight peek into Toriyama's mind a little bit there, I think, and just why Mr.popo looks and acts the way he does. Regardless, let's just get right into the... Now, here we are. The bread and butter of the video. If you lasted this long, you're a trooper. You're a trooper. and I appreciate you. Good job, trooper. Now, here we are with the bread and butter of the video. The two topics of the video are finally going to mesh into, well, a little sandwich. We're finally going to get a peek inside Toriyama's mind and intercept it like a, well, I was going to say plane, but that sounds kind of wrong. I don't know. Thing is, I sometimes I get it off of the script, and sometimes they don't make sense like that. And, you know, that might have been a little bit bad if I said that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's get into it. So, Mr.popo, I'm sure you come up with some comparisons yourself with Mahakala and Popo, such as Popo being Kami's attendant, the guardian of Earth, and how it's similar to Mahakala being a deity protecting the law of cosmic, in other words, Dharma. And, you know, that might be a stretch, but it's just a little bit interesting to think about. No, I feel like that's interesting. But just look at it this way. Mr.popo maintains the lookout, which is a sacred place on Earth. Mahakala is said to be the protector of a sacred place. And, well, look at this too. Goku used the power pole to get on top of the lookout, and who did he see? Well, Popo, and then Kami. But they trained, all right? And obviously, with Mahakala, people are trying to find their way to enlightenment and its teachings. Obviously, it's not one-to-one because it's training and not enlightenment, but you get the point. All right. I'll probably talk about this a little bit later. I'll mention it a little bit later. You'll see. But, you know, not to mention the use of fear and discipline. Now, obviously, in Goku's, you know, world, like I said, that was training. And then Mahakala's, that's more of a different interpretation. Not really necessarily training. But, you know, based on what we're shown on the Mr.popo side, he's definitely a very mysterious and serious individual and can be a little unsettling. And, well, yeah, obviously that helps because I'd say Vegeta was pretty scared when he was told that he may get banned from the lookout, you know, if he destroys the time chamber again. And, wait a minute. The time chamber, the what? Oh my god, the time chamber. What an interesting concept. Mr.popo is on this lookout with a chamber which holds time? One day is 1 year? That's peculiar. It ages things at an accelerated rate, hence destroying anything that's inside for too long? Like, you're telling me that if you stay there too long... Oh, God. The exit door, it vanishes, you say? Leaving you trapped in the dimension, which has nothing? Nothingness? You stay too long and you can't handle it? You go insane? It's empty? There's no distractions? It's a blank void. A white blank space? Dude, I feel like Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney on this one because nobody could hit objection on that one. All right. If the stuff, I just dropped my mouse. If the stuff I said, okay, if the stuff I said earlier may have been like a stretch, like I'd like to think that the time chamber is a huge point for Mahakala being an inspiration for Popo. All right. Like, look, we could definitely go more into it. Like how Popo was training young Goku and the Z fighters, how it's like he's instructing them and his methods are, you know, how do you say, strict, firm, maybe a little bit harsh, but they're not without purpose, all right? It's kind of like how he used a pendulum room. Even that name of the room is related to time, all right? Because you don't know, a pendulum is used for timekeeping, but it also shows how energy converts harmonically, which sounds pretty divine, I suppose. That part's a little like, eh. But regardless, could just be me. All I'm saying is, Mr.popo has so many comparisons, I can go on and on and on. Like, how Mr.popo knows. He knows info that the Z Fighters didn't know. He came up with things. Look, the Z Fighters didn't know about Namek. Who knew about Namek? Popo. He fought Goku. Heck, he even fought the SSA Trunks and Goten. He held his own, alright? Mahakala, being what they are, I imagine Mahakala is pretty strong. Definitely knows a lot more than even us. Mr.popo has a mystique, and we just don't know we don't know that much about him, all right? Like, in the Dragon Ball lore, we don't know much. But from what we do know, when it comes to real life, and it comes to Mahakala, I feel like you could gather some of this supplemental information and put it into Popo, and it just works. It just works. It's just very amazing. Regardless, in... Alright, so the conclusion here is, well, yeah, there really isn't one. I just hope you enjoyed the video, and you heard what I had to say. This is my second video with this sort of format, It takes a lot of research and editing, so please leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let me making more videos like this. That's why the videos take a little bit longer to make now. Obviously, I ideally want like a week, like every week, but that's not going to happen here. But, you know, just like I said, tell me what you thought, do all that good stuff. Appreciate you. If anything I said was incorrect, please let me know. That's definitely possible. I said something wrong. But if you have like anything like that, criticism, I'm here for it. I had a blast doing the research, doing this, learning about something new, and just using one of my favorite shows to share this to the world. All right. See ya. Mahakala. All right. So I moved the mic stand. So that was my bad. That was in frame the whole time. How embarrassing. Anyway. So, oh crap. Oh, I gotta get my mouse so I could like move the script a little bit. some inside behind the scenes. You got it. All right. So they are mahakala. Who is mahakala? They're the deity of Hinduism and as well as Tibetan. So Buddhism, all that stuff. Pretty cool, pretty neat. Obviously there's other interpretations because there are many interpretations, including some in Japan. But for the most part, we are going to be talking about Hinduism and Tibetan. Those will be the two main ones here. I'm going to try to be very, well, like thorough, but that's really hard on this subject. So I apologize. Regardless, let's just get into it. That being said, that's a lot of info. Okay, hold on. Fuck me.